Hi, I'm Lisa Francesca Nand. I'm a journalist and host of the Big Travel Podcast.
My name is Tsitsi Mutiti. I'm an investment manager at Charles Stanley Wealth Managers.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Chris Trinity of Revolution Content Marketing.
My name is Lydia Amoah. I am the director of Extra Media.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Davis and I'm the chief exec of BAME Recruitment.
Hi, my name is Anna Kitney. I'm the CEO and founder of Burgeon.
In terms of ethnic representation within the media, I think there's still a lot of work to be done. Currently, I think that we're starting to see a bit of a shift in terms of the adverts that are coming out. They're a lot more diverse, and I'm starting to see people like myself in certain adverts. But this has taken a long time to kind of get to where we are, and I think we still have a long way to go.
Without revealing my age, I remember growing up in the 80s and 90s, looking at TV, and there was never really a very, very strong representation of myself or my family background on television.
I definitely don't see myself in a lot of adverts, but I think I've conditioned myself to think that, you know, I'm part of the minority, so companies are trying to advertise to the majority. I think of my daughter who is 100% African, and she definitely doesn't see herself reflected in adverts, either TV or in magazines.
I think that different ethnicities, despite efforts to the contrary, are still very much underrepresented in the media, in adverts and in the public eye. And this is something we definitely need to work on. We need to be represented. It's not about diversity, it's about representation. We are out there, we're 10% or more of the UK population, and we need that to be represented in the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we read every day, so we can see ourselves reflected back in those roles.
So I currently rent. I don't own a home at the moment. I've been renting since I was in my 20s. Although people obviously have stressed to me the importance of owning a home and having assets and all the rest of that stuff, if I had people around me who were, if I had more people around me in my social circle or my sort of family circle who were homeowners and who had maybe imparted the importance of owning a home, and sort of like, or sort of just like ease the way for me to like understand exactly how, you know, how to own a home and the importance of it and all the rest of that stuff. I think that it may be something in my 20s that I would have been more focused on.
So for the young people that are trying to, you know, get on the property ladder, I guess regardless of culture, I think is going to be very, very difficult as property prices continue to increase. I think we're going to go through another property crash, in my opinion, because it's just simply not sustainable. Incomes are not keeping up with the property prices. So I was talking to my son just the other day. He's 11 years old, and I said to him, I said, you better start saving now in order to be able to afford a place in London. This is the reality for these young kids, is that they are going to be living at home for a lot longer, and the statistics are showing that, you know, the 20-somethings, they're not moving out, they're living at home because they're still saving money.
I don't know if I had any specific issues in relation to my ethnicity for getting onto the housing ladder. I think it's a problem across the board for young people at the moment. However, we need help from above. People might need help from a deposit, and you're more likely to have parents with money for a deposit if they've been given the opportunities that some ethnicities might not have been given. So it's something that goes back a very, very long way. If you've got white British parents who are very much entrenched in the middle class, working in London, they've probably got a house that is worth a lot of money, and they can more likely afford to help you on the property ladder. They've also got increased contacts in the media or in business. So it's something that starts very early, that sort of level of inequality, and then goes through the generations, and people end up more fortunate than others through no hard work or no fault of their own.
Employability is one of the things. Most of the roles that these people feel are underpaid, long hours, And as I said before, not because they are not qualified, not because they're not able to do better jobs, it's because there is not enough opportunities for them to apply. And when they apply, there's some barriers that in some cases are really ridiculous. Sometimes people just foresee the CV with different name, different surname, just put it away. So I think they need to have be more open to provide opportunities for these people.
So I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I am a 9 compared to the average person, simply because I work in the financial industry and I am a fully qualified investment manager. So I've had to do exams, 3 years worth of exams to get to this level of knowledge. Had I not done the exams, and if I think of what my knowledge before joining the industry and doing the exams, I would have put myself at a 2. And that's just basic knowledge about, banking and credit cards, etc.
So when I got my first job, I got my first credit card. And as many of you know, when you spend money on credit card, it doesn't actually feel like you're spending money. So like many young people, I got myself into a lot of debt. And then when I came to England and we bought our first house in the UK, what they do is they increase your credit card limit without actually asking from your permission. So the bank went from giving me £5,000 to £7,000 credit available. Now at that time I wasn't earning that kind of money to be able to afford to pay my credit card off within one payment. Now the companies know that, they know that, and I found myself in huge debt. It was at that point I decided to take a stand on what was happening with the debt I was creating, and I literally cut up my credit cards.
Financially, I think people need to have access to understand what is out there for them in terms of whether it's loans or whether it's trying to get finance to get onto a house or a car, and I think it's great now that we've got so many different kind of websites, things like Money Expert, that really help people to simplify some of the products that are out on the market that can help them in terms of making some of those difficult financial decisions.
We began this interview talking about kind of multiculturalism, and from what I've seen, particularly in the UK, there's definitely a huge divide in regards to who has the money and who doesn't. And in terms of the education that's available to those who are struggling, they don't have access to it, they don't have the awareness.
Certainly I think that in school they really need to teach you more about sort of like how to like manage your finances and things like that. I mean, I didn't even learn about credit until I think I was like 26 or 27 years old, which is crazy. However, obviously school has a part to play in that, but also, sort of like my upbringing and parents and stuff like that have a role to play in that as well. A lot of the stuff to do with finances and investing and things like that has been basically self-taught. But I'm glad that I have sort of taught myself these things. I've got 3 kids, and I know that I will make sure that, even today, like I impart, things to do with savings and setting aside money and how to invest your money properly in my kids right now. Because at the end of the day, I don't feel that I was brought up with that sort of knowledge or with that advice.
So because I'm a public figure, I actually spend a lot on my hair. So I'm not going to tell you how much, but I do spend a lot on my hair. So my philosophy in terms of hair beauty products is really natural, and it comes across, many of the leading brands you'll find are actually quite toxic. So for me, a priority is definitely non-toxic. My mother makes her own skincare range back in Australia using natural essential oils, and so I'll use some of those products. Some of my students make their own products as well, so I will try those as well. So I tend to go for more either brands that I buy from health food stores that have natural ingredients, or are homemade products.
Until fairly recently, I bought from a local African hair shop owned by an African shop owner. Unfortunately, that shop closed down because a bigger store moved into our town. So I do buy from hair shops, as we call them, and it's mainly for extensions or my shampoo products, you know, anything that I need to maintain my hair, you know, the combs, etc.
I do everything I can to invest in the Afro-Caribbean community in the UK, right? So as far as like things like grocery shoppings and stuff like that, I will try to shop in places where I know that it's like a black-owned shop. As far as within my own business, so I actually go out of my way to make sure that I can find other black freelancers or black people who are skilled at what I do as far as like my marketing agency goes, and I will actually go out of my way to actually give jobs to members of the BAME community first and foremost.
Well, I think Lydia's research is very important because I strongly believe that there is wealth in minority communities. As an investment manager and coming from that background, I would really love to have, you know, more clients from that background, because what I do really helps people build and preserve their wealth for future generations.
I think it's a lot to celebrate, a lot to say, a lot to be proud, but not necessarily to be ticked by a box, or the box need to be ticked because we are from different part of the world, or because we have different names, or because we have different surname or different appearance. That's basically, I still think that the strategy to make BME more more able to reach out more things has to change. I think they need to make it more inclusive.
I think, you know, as a BAME community, you know, we've got so much to give, you know, and I think if you were to look in terms of the spending power within the BAME community, you know, we're talking billions, you know, of spend that is within the community. And I think businesses need to do more to tap into that and really support those communities, you know, just as much as they support the other kind of communities. But for me, I think, you know, as people from our own BAME kind of communities, it's also about supporting each other. It's about how as a community can we lift each other up, how can we encourage our businesses to do better, how can we promote our businesses to do better. And I think when we come together as a community, and we can show, you know, all the productivity and fantastic things that's coming out of our communities, I think that's when people will really want to, you know, kind of engage with us, or really kind of want to do business and trade with us. I think there's so many different opportunities out there, you know, that people can tap into.
So I'm really excited to be working with Lydia Amoah on this project. This is going to be, you know, this is not going to be a one-year project. This is going to span several years as we shift the unconscious bias, you know, not just across London or the UK, but internationally, so that we can get multicultural people in the workplace, in companies, accessing their talents and abilities, that we can really pool our resources together regardless of skin color or accent or income bracket or even class system as well.